Hello there. Our politicians are beginning to wake up to the obvious. Well, our MPs do seem to be learning some new lessons and concepts, don't they? Listening to the Russia sanctions debate in the House of Commons this afternoon, I started to see some inkling of the realisation among MPs that the nation-state does matter, that looking after the nation-state's security does matter, that having robust armed forces matters, and looking after the state's energy security matters, and that preventing dodgy money being laundered through your own banks to be used against us is a bad move, and that facing down an enemy with unity is crucial. And wider, there is also now talk that maybe food security is also a good thing. We outsourced food security to the EU and beyond. We outsourced our trade security to the EU. We outsourced too much of our defence and security to the US via NATO. And we outsourced our energy security to the weather and Norwegian gas. Let's hope that Putin's actions do at least get the nation back to reality on these matters. But there is one possibility that seems to have passed them all by, one with potentially terrible consequences that I'll come on to in a moment. OK, I know many MPs do have patriotic fervour where the UK is concerned, but many are now coming to realise that just standing on the international stage jawing with a few mates from the political top in other countries does not make for a secure future. And many MPs were today calling for the UK to spend more money on defence. Right now, as a NATO member, we are supposed to spend 2% of the nation's GDP on defence. The PM said today that we're now actually spending 2.4%, but it's hard to even get some other NATO states to stump up their 2%. Although the UK defence spending accounting methods were changed a few years ago to make it look a bit bigger than it really is. But these MPs were saying we need to set a target of 3%, and I agree it should be at least that. But it always should have been, because you can't spend more on defence today in the hope of magicking up a modern, technical army, navy and air force in a couple of days. It takes years to do that. But we've listened for too long to the siren call of the peaceniks, who said we'd never need troops and tanks ever again, and that giving our money away would ensure UK soft power and make everybody love us. Yeah. Now look at Ukraine. And to give you an idea of what Putin might be up to, a force of the Russian National Guard has been seen in Belarus, just to the north of the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. This is the force that operated as enforcers inside Syria. They may well be destined to occupy Kiev and hunt down dissenters, with nasty consequences. And MPs today listened to Boris Johnson's initial sanctions plans and said we must go further, harder and faster. Now, I said in an earlier video that deciding how far to go with sanctions after this limited action by Russia would prove to be a problem. Many MPs want to see the kitchen sink thrown at Putin now. But what if he just shrugs and then takes the whole of Ukraine later? What more could we do short of declaring war on Russia? And Boris Johnson did say this afternoon that we are in a position to impose very considerable economic costs on Putin. The question is whether he is going to care enough about it, because he is clearly in an illogical and irrational frame of mind. But at least Chancellor Scholz of Germany has refused to sign off the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline that would have supplied Germany with all the Russian gas it needs while bypassing the problem Ukraine. But is this a permanent gas pipeline ban, or what? But that will limit gas supplies into the EU, and the announcement has already put gas prices through the roof today, something that will affect us all. So what's this one possibility that I mentioned earlier that no one seems to be contemplating? Well, not publicly anyway. And it might be helping shape Western sanctions strategy. Now, Putin has an iron grip on power. But if these sanctions start biting and hurting ordinary people, oligarchs and the generals around Putin, it might get rather hot for him. Now, he will have put in place a dedicated protection squad, but money talks and attempts might be made to remove him by one means or another. And you do have to ask yourself how many advisors and military top brass sat around the table with Vladimir Putin are beginning to now question his judgment. How many now believe that Putin is leading them down the path of Russian destruction, not the path to Russian glory? Can Putin really have surrounded himself with so many equally deluded and deranged people? There are many down the annals of history who have come unstuck just like this. And who's to know if Putin has a midnight flit strategy should the house of cards come down round his ears? But unlike with historical figures, with Putin, if he suddenly goes, there is the matter of a political vacuum inside a nuclear power, with absolutely no idea of who's going to end up with the keys. Unless we're already talking to someone. So what's your opinion on UK sanctions of Russia? Please like and comment below. Please subscribe and like this video, buy a mug and support me on Patreon or PayPal, and thank you for watching.